And good morning, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful, wild, wacky Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And it's our pleasure to be here with you week after week, bringing you amazing guests, incredible content for your midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration. Today's guest is Robin Johnson, and we're going to be having a conversation to transform that inner critic. You know, that stuff that you say only inside your head that can get in your way of moving forward and experiencing your best life. So I'm super excited to have Robin with us today as she gives us tools and strategies for transforming that inner critic. And I'll bring her on in just a moment. Before we get started, we have some amazing opportunities coming up for you to continue to connect and to level up your life and your business. And on Friday and Saturday, June 14th and 15th, we are hosting online our legendary 2-day level up workshop. And this is our mid-year boost. So for level up, for those who have come before, those who haven't come yet, we're going to focus on what is your intention, what is your end goal, dust off that, those notes you took and made in the beginning of 2024, and revamp the structures for your business so that you not only achieve your goals, but how about we even exceed them? And the mid-year level up is extra special because we're taking time to tap into what may have gotten in the way of some of the plans, intentions, and declarations that you made. We want to clear the cobwebs and clear the path so that you are sailing free to your greatest year yet. So be sure to grab your ticket. You can go to womensprosperityNetwork.com /level up. Grab your ticket now and get yourself to level up. So I look forward to seeing everyone there. When you go to our website, you'll also see our monthly networking events, our masterminds, lots of ways that we have created to bring all of you, these amazing women, bring you together to connect, to collaborate, to be resources for one another, and tap into your resourcefulness through the power of the collective. My favorite quote by John F. Kennedy is that a rising tide lifts all boats, and Women's Prosperity Network is that rising tide. So get in the boat, come on, let's go and level up. So with that, I have the privilege of introducing you to Robin Johnson. And let me tell you a little bit about this amazing woman who lives in California. We broadcast live at 9 a.m. and she is looking fantastic at 6 a.m. California time. So well done, my friends. So good. So Robin is an international best-selling author, keynote speaker, well-being advisor, and this is such an interesting little twist, a fraud prevention expert and a Suzuki violin teacher. Talk about multifaceted talents. Oh my goodness. Her highly interactive and life-changing well-being workshops for women enable women to transform their inner critic, amplify sources of abundance, and develop skills to bring forth their best selves. Today, we're going to be talking with her about transforming your inner critic. And without any further delay, welcome, Robin. So happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I have attended, I should say, called into Wow Wednesday countless times, but it's always been on my phone. This is the first time I've attended on Zoom, and it's just so fun to be here. So it's really great. I see some faces that I recognize from before. So anyway, it's really exciting to be here. And just before I get into things, just a quick reminder, I'm a co-host of a podcast called Women Investing in Women, where we shine a light on organizations or on people who are women who are doing things to uplift women. And we spotlighted Trish several weeks ago. So you can go into Women Investing in Women and find her podcast episode. and learn about how this wonderful organization started and a lot of history of the organization and about her and her sisters. So I've always wanted to put a plug in. And then if any of you have an organization where you specifically work with women in one way or another, then let me know, because we are always looking for inspiring and wonderful guests for our program.
I love it. I love it. And that is the spirit of this amazing woman, finding ways to give back, uplift others, and contribute to the collective rising tide, as I was just talking about. So thank you for that beautiful invitation. I know you're going to have Deborah Morrison on of We Can Do It Women, if you haven't had her on yet. Several of our members, I think one of the things we have in common here is so many women leaders come to Women's Prosperity Network because we're serving a common cause. And it's a beautiful thing. So thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Right now, since we're talking about serving women, let's jump right into this aspect of transforming the inner critic. And I want to kick us off before you give us some strategies. How did it come for you that this is your niche or your favorite topic? Why is this the essential one for us to begin with?
Well, I have two epiphanies. I had two epiphanies I'll share with you. The first epiphany was back in 2018. I was at a 2-week training in Canada. In fact, that's where I met Deborah Morrison. And at one point during the training, so we're there for 2 weeks, so we got to know these people. They were both men and women there, but just amazing women. Well, amazing men. Everyone was amazing. But at one point in time, everyone had to have a chance to be on the stage and just share something about themselves. And woman after woman after woman, who I had learned was amazing, talented, well-spoken, and capable, got up on that stage and basically berated themselves and just said, like the worst thing about them, and just downgraded themselves. I was blown away. I think the context was, what do you say to yourself? That might have been the context of the topic. But they were, one after another of these amazing women got up and were just kind of downgrading themselves. I was blown away because they were so amazing. And I was blown away because they were saying the same things that I said to myself. So when it was time for me to get up on that stage, I looked those women in the eye and I said, we are no longer allowed to talk to ourselves like this. We are no longer allowed to talk to ourselves like this. And for me, that was a turning point. And then a year later, I got into the University of Pennsylvania's Master of Applied Positive Psychology program and learned many, many wonderful things, which I incorporate. And there I studied, I equate it with taking an Old Testament class from Moses, because I was studying with Martin Seligman, who is known as the father of positive psychology.
Oh, wow.
And Angela Duckworth, who wrote the book Grit, Karen Rivich, who developed the... there you go. Angela Duckworth and Karen Rivich, who developed Penn's Resilience Program, which is one of the top programs in the world. I studied the feet of all of these giants. And then it started in 2019, it ended in 2020. And I see that I'm a little bit frozen, but I'm going to go ahead. There we go. There, I'm unfrozen now. And so finished in 2020, graduated in cap and gown from my living room. And
wow.
During that, just shortly after graduating, this had actually been in the works for some time. But shortly after graduating, my husband of 34 years ended our marriage. And
wow.
during that summer, as I was working on my capstone, you kind of do your classwork and then you spend the summer doing your capstone. During that summer, I found myself saying, I'm damaged goods now. I'm damaged goods. And, one day I kind of woke up and I said, wait a minute. You know a lot of women whose marriages have ended, and you don't think of them as damaged goods. Why are you thinking of yourself as damaged goods? And I said, I'm going to take every inch of what I learned in my program, and I'm going to use it on myself. Well, fast forward about a year and a half, and I am at a women's retreat. And it happens to be my 65th birthday. I was turning 65. It was January 28th of whatever a few years ago was. That would have been 2022. And at this retreat, I remember we're sitting in a big circle with my sisters, and I can't remember the context, but I looked at them all and I said, you know what? I'm freaking awesome. And if you can't see that, then just get off on the next corner. Okay. So how did I go from I'm damaged goods to I'm freaking awesome? Well, you can come to my workshop on Friday, June 21st and learn about it, but I'll share a few little tips here as well.
And I'll put the link in the chat as well as on Zoom so you can learn more about this workshop, and let's transform it once and for all. And that's simply go to robinlearningsystems.com/workshops-for-women. So robinlearningsystems.com/workshops-for-women. And as I'm listening to you share this story and the culmination, the experience you have, the study that you did to get to this place to transform your inner critic, like I'm eager to hear how we can do it, because in your story, I saw myself. In your story, I saw myself 10 years ago, and maybe even sometime last week when I wasn't so sure about something, right? So I've totally transformed, I would say 99% of that inner critic, because I am totally freaking awesome. And let's clear the rest of it. So what are some of the ways that we can do this? And you have something about Freud that you speak on, Sigmund Freud being wrong or something?
Oh, yes. In the information that I sent, the failures of Freud. And so we honor Freud because he was one of the first ones to say, I think something in my childhood might be affecting me. But a lot of his ideas, in fact, the vast majority of ideas were just that. They were ideas, and they have proven to be unfounded. And so we learn other things. But so Freud had his notions, and Aaron Beck, who is known as the father of cognitive behavior therapy. He's about 20 years older than Marty. He just passed away a few years ago at the age of 99 and a half. And in the 60s, so he was doing this Freudian analysis strategy, and he found that his patients just weren't getting better. But he was observing that they all kind of talked alike. They all kind of sounded alike. And he said, well, maybe if I get them talking differently, maybe they'll feel different. And so he began, and so if you're going to talk differently, you have to think differently. So he began just experimenting. Well, why don't you say this? Why don't you think about it this way, think about that? And they found that they used to think that our emotions, these negative, sad emotions, anxiety, depression, etc., then caused all this negative thinking. But they discovered it was the opposite, is that you have just a fraction of a microsecond of a thought, and that triggers a cascade of emotions. And so by changing how you think and how you talk, and especially how you talk to yourself, then that changes how you feel. So
and then that changes your experience.
Yes, absolutely. And so that then became the foundation of cognitive theory, and then cognitive behavior theory, which then led into the studies of resilience. and which then led into my absolute all-time favorite strategy called real-time resilience. And we'll learn about this in depth in my workshop. But this is what I used on myself. This is absolutely what I used myself. It's real-time resilience.
Can you give us a sneak peek?
Yeah.
Okay.
So real-time resilience is what is called is a fast skill, because you can keep it in your hip pocket or your purse to whip it out whenever you need it. And it has some strategies and then sentence starters. And you memorize these sentence starters, because then you have a little hook to hold on to. And I can talk about in a little bit. I call it finding your mental edge of the pool. And so the strategy is called evidence. The sentence starter is, that's not true because, and then you fill in the blank. And so when I say to myself, I'm just a freaking idiot, I say, that's not true because I'm the editor of Frank Abagnale's Fraud Bulletin. Okay. I created a community Christmas concert that 1,500 people came to, the Mormons, the Lutherans, and the Catholics. And so I can say things that are vivid, specific, and accurate. Whatever you fill the blank in with has to be vivid, specific, and accurate. It won't be strong enough to counterbalance that negative thought. So that's one of my very, very, very favorite strategies.
And that's a great strategy, because my sister Susan, who's on with us today, she would say things to me like, if she heard me say, "Oh, I'm so stupid," or "What an idiot I am," or any of that negative self-talk. "Oh, I can't do this. What's wrong with me?" Like all of that. What's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with me, because I love this new strategy. But she would hear me years ago and say, "Don't you talk to my sister like that." Right? When we think about it, some of the things we say to ourselves, we would never say to a best friend. We wouldn't even think it about them, right? So it goes back to, how to honoring ourselves. So real-time resilience and have the evidence. Now, here's a question for you. As you're starting out on transforming your inner critic, there's two things that come to mind for me. Number one, how do you begin to catch yourself in these moments? Because sometimes that inner critic is running the show, and it's in the fast lane, and I don't even realize that it's running the show.
Yeah, that is an absolutely perfect point, and that's why I used to think of this as silencing your inner critic, and then I thought, no, we don't want to silence, because it's never going to be silent, and it's part of who we are. And we don't want to, as women, we've had our voices silenced far too much. So we don't want to silence our voices. We want to transform it. And so I would say the first point for me became awareness. And so I need to become aware. First of all, need to recognize that's what I'm saying. And so part of it is becoming aware that this is how you're talking to yourself. Yeah. And then once you become aware that you have talked to yourself, there's a phrase, awareness, acceptance, action. And so accepting, acceptance is a tricky spot, because it's like, for me, it's like opening up the cupboard and saying, oh, there's a can of peas on my shelf. I don't like canned peas, but there it is. I instead of saying, no, it's not there, or that's really corn. No, it's not corn. It really is peas, and it really is on your shelf. Yeah. So becoming aware, like opening the cupboard, and then accepting the fact that yes, this really is there, and then what is the appropriate action? And so the evidence, being able to recount to myself things that I had done well, or things that were going right in my life. I use the phrase, finding your mental edge of the pool. Would you like to know about that?
Please, yes.
Okay. So when we are flooded with emotions, when we did something and we're upset about it, or we're embarrassed, or, whatever we feel on the spot, we're flooded with emotions. It's very, very hard for our prefrontal cortex to function effectively. And so we need to kind of calm ourselves down and find, and it's like you've been pushed into the pool and you're just kind of flailing around. And so when I was watching my daughters be taught how to swim, and then now watching my granddaughters be taught how to swim, one thing the instructor did over and over and over, they had the kids jump in the pool, turn around and grab the edge. Jump in, if they jumped in a little too far, paddle over, grab the edge. But they did it over and over and over and over and over. And one time the instructor said the reason why we do this so much and so often is so that it will become instinctual. So that when they hit the water. And so then if they're at a swim party or they're at a public pool and they get jostled, they get jostled, or someone pushes them in the pool, instead of just landing and kind of flailing around, they'll instinctively grab the edge of the pool. So I view these strategies, these sentence starters as finding, and I realized I need to change the title. Actually, I realized a few days ago I need to change the title, but I didn't want to go back and change all my paperwork. But I will go going forward. In reality, you're not finding your edge of the pool, you're creating your edge of the pool. So creating an edge of the pool. So when you're caught off guard, you have something to hold on to. And I found for myself that not only did it help me create something for when I got thrown off guard, it helped me begin sensing, I think something is just about ready to push me in the pool. And so I could be kind of mentally and emotionally prepared and not have to end up being, flailing and floundering all around.
Well, what a great analogy, because this strategy of creating / finding your edge of the pool will also build confidence. And here's what I thought of is, as you said, learning to do this has you now be able to sense when you might be thrown in, off the edge of the pool, right? And when that is about to happen for us, like when we're headed into a scary or, challenging situation, knowing that the edge of the pool is right there is like, okay, I can do this. So the flood of emotions that stops you from accessing your prefrontal cortex, your thinking, your creative brain, you're actually allowing yourself to jump into that edge of the prefrontal cortex rather than in fear. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Right. And that's what I think about when you talk about the kids going in the pool. Oh, I got thrown in the pool. Oh, I don't have to freak out. I just need to grab the edge.
Exactly.
And it completely will change the experience. So as we're listening, if you're getting ready to walk on a stage and you're afraid people aren't going to like you, if you're making a sales call and you're afraid they're going to say no, pay attention, my friends, apply this strategy to those areas of your life where you are fearful and maybe you're not taking the actions you want to be taking because that fear has built up and it's not the truth. Like, this is so good.
Yeah,
So good.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a very good strategy. And like I say, during that summer and, for months, obviously, I use that strategy literally every day, multiple times a day. And here's the other thing that's interesting. I'm going to use a fraud analogy here, okay? So I work with a company called Safe Check. It's a company that specializes in preventing check fraud. In full transparency, it's my brother's company, so I've worked with him for about 20 years. And so 26, 27, almost 30 years ago, when he started this company, he worked for a bank and he hit with check fraud. They hired Frank Abagnale to come in and be a consultant. And they created an entirely new class of checks called safe checks. They made all the bank's clients start using these checks. The banks is a very small business bank in Southern California, and their fraud went from 90,000 to 3 million in about 2 years.
Wow.
And their check fraud. And so they created an entirely new class of checks. They made all the bank's clients start using these checks, and then use other internal fraud prevention strategies. And their fraud dropped by 95%, 96% actually over the next couple of years. Well, if you look at the chart, they discovered that not only did the losses go away, the attempts went away. A criminal would look at a safe check and they'd say, I'm going to go next door. Because, check fraud criminals aren't looking for a fight. They're picking the easy fruit. And so that was interesting. And that is what will happen to your thinking. And I discovered this. I came to this realization because some months ago I was sitting in church and the woman was talking about, how do we talk to ourselves? Obviously, you're talking about Jesus and all of that, but how do we talk to ourselves? And she was saying, when you're thinking about, and basically you're beating yourself up. And I thought to myself, I just don't talk to myself like that very much anymore. A little bit now and again. I just don't talk to myself. And then I realized that those thoughts, those consistently awful thoughts, things I'm saying that I used to say to myself, they just kind of started going away. They didn't come back as often. Once in a while, but not nearly as much as before. And so I use that as an analogy.
And I wonder, as we're looking at actually not silencing the inner critic or stifling, right? But creating transformation. Transformation lasts. Silencing, it's going to find a way to bust out, right? So I love this process that you take people through. And it's kind of like, have you heard of confirmation bias?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Totally.
Right. So this is creating a new confirmation bias by using those sentence starters, right? So confirmation bias is what we think to be true, we seek evidence to find, right? So if you think, you're not worthy, you're no good at business, you're going to find evidence that you're no good at business. But if you switch it up and use the sentence starters, well, that's not true because I successfully did this and I was able to do that. And now you're changing the thought, the belief behind the language.
Yeah.
And when you change the thought, that's where lasting change comes in. I love this.
Yeah. Very, very true. Yeah. It's interesting because I absolutely have heard of confirmation bias in our program. In fact, the program at Penn included a class on statistics and how can you look at reports and say, well, this is really not a very valid report.
Are we going to talk Fred Freakonomics, right? Are you familiar with the book Freakonomics?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I love it. I love it. Yeah. It's a great book. It's a great book.
Obviously, Robin and I could go on for a long time sharing and diving into these things. And I want to encourage you all to attend her workshop. So, whether you have 2% of this inner critic left or 200%, this is the perfect way to create that lasting transformation. So tell us a little bit more about the workshop, and then I know you've got a free gift for everyone here, and then we'll open up for some questions and answers. So let them know about the workshop and the free gift, and then I'll give everybody the links.
Okay, great. So the workshop is called Transform Your Inner Critic. It will be held on Friday, June 21st at 1:00 p.m. Pacific, 4:00 p.m. Eastern. So it's at the end of the day, end of the week, that you can then take these things and ponder them and begin utilizing them over the weekend and implementing them into your life. It's a 1 hour workshop. Sometimes I refer to it as a mini workshop because I also have some half-day workshops, and I'm in the process of developing a full-day women's retreat, whole women flourishing, but that's still in the works. But I decided to just take some slices of the pie, and this is one of my favorite slices of the pie, transform your inner critic. And so and all of my workshops, regardless of the context, whether it's a business fraud prevention strategy conference or it doesn't matter what it is, it's always highly interactive. I really believe there's a lot of collective wisdom in any group. And by having people share ideas, think about things, and then share, find some commonalities, I just feel very strongly about that. So they're always highly interactive. And it's going to, and we'll put the registration information in the link. I think you might have done that already.
Yep, I've got the link, and I'm going to add it. And is it $97 for the workshop?
Well, I have 3 freebies and something that's not free. So the three freebies, if you sign up on my website, then you will get a monthly golden nugget. Now, if you're like me, your inbox is exploding, but yet you still want to know about the best stuff that's out there in the internet. So once a month, I send a very short, succinct, to the point, a golden nugget on something that can improve your life. And then on my website, if you go to blog, you will find 2 free downloads. One is Finding Your Mental Edge of the Pool, the article that I just what I just talked about. And number 2, something I actually posted some months ago called 3 Tips for Beating the Holiday Blues. Now, even though we think of the holidays as being around, Christmas and Hanukkah and Thanksgiving, in reality, you have New Year's, you have Valentine's Day, you have Martin Luther King Day, you have St. Patrick's Day. There's holidays all year long. So we could be beating the blues all year long. So that's that free download as well. And then my workshop is $97. I have a special family and friends discount, a 50% discount. And I tell them,
are we family and friends?
For family and friends, well, well, hold on a second. I have family and friends, and they use the word hope. We're a 50% discount. However, for Women's Prosperity Network, because I love this organization, you do so much good in the world, and because you guys don't know me from Adam or from Eve, I created a special Women's Prosperity 75% discount, and where it's $27.
Wow.
The code that you use is WPN 2024. The code had to be at least four digits. So Hope worked, but WPN didn't. So it's WPN, Women's Prosperity Network 2024. You put that code in to the registration form, and then it will pop it down to $27. And
wow.
you will get to know me and how I work, and you will take away one of my very favorite slices of the pie.
That is extraordinary, my friend. Wow, wow, wow. I was happy with 50% off. Went even better. So thank you for that. Wow. All right. I'm going to put both of the links in the chat. So give me just a second. So for the free downloads that she's talking about here, you're going to go to robinlearningsystems.com/blog and then register for the workshop and save 75% using code WPN2024. And there you're going to go to robinlearningsystems.com/workshops-for-women. And actually, just if you go to robinlearningsystems.com, she has everything beautifully available for you right in the menu bar. So kudos on making it easy for us to be able to do.
I asked my web person to shorten that URL instead of workshops for women to just be workshops. And then the things I do for organizations, just programs, and my keynotes, just keynotes. So she said that she had shortened all that, but I realized I didn't go on to check to see if she had. But if you go to my website, right at the very top, it says workshops for women. So
Yep.
you can either go to services and drop down, or you can just go to workshops for women. And it's right there on the top. And it's right at the very top of that whole section.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, my friends. So this is a great conversation. I know we're going to have several of you that want to ask questions or comment. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first caller, it's going to be Peg Duchesne, and then I believe Dr. Roz.
Good morning, Robin. It's great to meet you. And wow, what a plethora of valuable information you have on your website. I look forward to diving into your blogs, and thank you so much for the 75% coupon code on your workshop. Really, all ships rise with the tide, and you're helping to get that tide lifting us up. So thank you very, very much. What's
Wonderful.
the best way to connect a person that would benefit from knowing you? Are you on LinkedIn, or do you like an email introduction, or should I just have them subscribe to your website, or what would you recommend?
I'm absolutely on LinkedIn as Robin Litster Johnson. You can,
Okay.
my maiden name is in there too. And so Robin Litster Johnson, and I, through email, Robin at robinlearningsystems.com. And then when anyone signs up through my website, I get a little message that says someone has signed up, and then I can go in and say, hi, nice to meet you.
That's
So
perfect.
I'm very, and I have a business Robin Learning Systems Facebook page, and I have my personal Robin Litster Johnson Facebook page. And so, and I have Instagram. So yeah. I'm on that.
Lots of ways to find
so
her.
many ways to connect with you. Okay, yes, great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm really passionate about, like I said, back in that conference in 2018, we are no longer allowed to talk to ourselves like this.
Exactly.
It's just not allowed. Yes. And so we can transform our critic into a cheerleader.
Right.
Oh, and I like that.
Nancy, I love what you said about your sister Susan saying, don't talk to my sister. Don't talk about my sister that way. Don't talk to my sister that way. That's right. Brilliant. Yeah. And Robin, thank you for all the nuggets and great insights you shared this morning. I have one person definitely in mind to make sure they know about you. And I'm sure more to come as I delve into your blogs and those kinds of things. So thanks for being here on a Wow Wednesday.
Wow. Thank you so Nancy. Much. So nice to meet you.
Welcome. Always,
you as well, Robin.
Always, Peg. It's good. And you know what? I was thinking of, and it prompted when Peg said how, you should love what Susan says to me, since I was in this process of growing up. Don't talk to my sister Nancy that way. Like, create a buddy system to have people listen to what you say and be there for you. And that's part of what you've created with your community. And that's what Women's Prosperity Network can be as well. So good. And congratulations to Discreet Concierge who registered for the workshop. I believe Gail Dixon's also registering for the workshop. Well done, everyone. And thank you for that huge gift. Once again, you want to go to robinlearningsystems.com and then just click on the banner that says Wellbeing Workshops for Women. You'll find it very easily. And remember, coupon code WPN 2024. Let's go to Dr. Roz. Your line is open. Are you there, Roz?
I think she needs to unmute.
Yeah. She'll be on in a moment. Let's go to Nellie Williams in the meantime.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Robin, nice to meet you. Nancy, nice to see you. What a great way to be thinking. Find your edge of the pool and create your own edge of the pool. I think that's a great habit to be in. And we need to listen to ourselves because so many things are automatic. And I think if we're not our own best friend, what's wrong with that picture?
Nellie, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm got to get I don't keep my credit card next to my desk, so I got to go in the other room to get that. But I'll be signing up. Thank you for
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for this.
And I love that. Thank you, Nellie. And looking at your picture, you remind me of some of my aunts. I had these wonderful aunts who were I just love them so much. In fact, I have 3 aunts who reminded me of the 3 fairies in the Disney Sleeping Beauty, and you just look like one of them. I just wanted to give you a big hug through the cyberspace there. But you mentioned the phrase these automatic negative thoughts. So they are automatic negative thoughts, and they've been referred to as ants, like ANT. Yes. Like there's an ant coming into your picnic. And how can we get rid of swish away these ants? So I love that. Thank you, Nellie.
Thank you.
So good, so good. Thank you, Nellie. So good to have you with us today and bring your light and your beautiful spirit. I always appreciate when I get to be with you. So thanks for that. All right, let's go to, I'm going to do one more caller and signing off of WOW. We're going to wrap up in just a couple of minutes. So this will be our last caller. Be sure to register at robinlearningsystems.com. Sign up for the workshop and use coupon code WPN 2024. And I think the perfect way to wrap up this Wow Wednesday is with Deborah Morrison, who introduced us to Robin. So welcome back, Deborah.
Well, thanks. And thanks, Robin. These messages are really very, very timely. And I know you'll cover it in your workshop, which I've registered for. Yet, could you just give us a quick check-in as to, okay, yeah, we're motivated to do this. We want to transform our lives by doing this. Give us some of the alerts that you have tapped into when you're kind of falling into this negative, because sometimes it's, pretty automatic and we can go downhill very swiftly. So tell me what kind of things that you enact. I mean, sometimes I press on a knuckle, using NLP, from 100 years ago, and say, okay, I'll draw myself back to more positive thinking or just stop this. What are some of the tip-offs, if you will, that you might alert us to that we can make those tip-offs more conscious so that the downward slope is of a lesser duration?
Well, that's an excellent question. And one thing that I do is, first of all, becoming more aware of how I talk, is I will hold, it's almost like I'm holding up a stop sign inside my head, and I just say, stop. And then I drag my brain back where it needs to be. And a lot of like a thing I'll say is, have I done anything right today?
Oh, that's really good. That's one of those
right? And I say, wait a minute, you've done lots of right things today. You did this, you did this, you did this, And so, but just that mental space of and in full transparency, I would find myself having these very long-winded conversations inside my head with my husband, where I was usually ragging on him about something or another. And I realized, no, I can't control him. I can only control myself. Mm-hmm. And so I would do this, hold this stop sign up in my head, stop, send up a prayer for him, and then drag myself where it goes. So that's where it started. And then I started using it on myself. So, but by being able I truly believe the first step has to be awareness. If you're not aware that you're doing it, and the more aware you become, then you can take appropriate action.
Very good. Thank you, Deborah. Great question.
Yeah, thanks. I'm almost inclined to put a couple stop signs around my house so that if I'm still not aware and I walk by one and I say, oh, wait a minute.
That's really good.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea.
That is a great idea. And then you're creating, those changing, transforming the inner critic, say, oh, stop. And what we do repeatedly will last. So that's really great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Ms. Deborah, thank you for that. And thank you for introducing us to Robin. We're all grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, everyone. I want to wish you all a most wonderful Wow Wednesday. Let's hear it for Robin Johnson, dropping so much wisdom, heart, and love into our space today so that we can all love ourselves a little bit more. Thank you, Robin, for the work you're doing and for your gifts to our community and your contribution.
Well, it's really a thrill to be here. I just consider it a great honor. And be sure and check out the Women Investing in Women podcast, and scroll down where you can find Trish Carr, and then you can learn more about this wonderful organization.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. And I will see you later, my friends. Get out there, make it a wow day. Be the one today. Be the one for yourself first and foremost. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye, Robin. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. So wonderful to meet you. Bye-bye.